This is CBS 8 News Live at 6.
We begin with a developing story we're following tonight. A civilian plane crashed off an NAS North Island runway. Good evening, I'm Jesse Pagan, in for Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. This happened just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. The good news is that we're being told no one was seriously hurt. CBS 8's Richard Allen is live at Shelter Island tonight with an update. Richard?
Well, that's right. Still not clear at this point whether or not today's stormy weather played a role in this accident, but it clearly did not help matters any. You can still see first responders behind me here at North Island. Now, let's take a closer look at this accident with some video we shot earlier of this Learjet that slid off the runway at Naval Air Station North Island as it was coming in for a landing this afternoon right after 1:15 p.m., landing instead on a retaining wall next to the runway. The nose of that Learjet partially in the bay. Now, according to Navy officials I spoke with, this is a civilian contractor aircraft. Now, there were 2 personnel on board. Thankfully, neither suffered any serious injuries. Now, they were taken to the hospital just as a precaution, but again, they are expected to be okay. And according to data from the website FlightAware, which tracks flights, this Learjet took off at 12:22 p.m. Apparently, it did some figure eights over the ocean, over the water, and less than an hour after that came back in for a landing at North Island. But again, apparently it overshot the runway, ending up partially in the bay. Now, the FAA and the NTSB are investigating at this point. We also spoke with an aviation expert, Robert Katz. He tells us he believes this aircraft, which is registered to a company called GH Equipment LLC out of Delaware, he believes the aircraft is a total loss. But back out here live, at this point, we do not know whether or not this will be a total loss. That is still to be determined. Also to be determined whether or not weather played a role in this accident. We're continuing to follow this developing story. We'll bring you the latest on CBS 8 and, of course, CBS8.com. Jesse and Marcella.
Our other top story tonight, Tropical Storm K is still southwest of San Diego, but we are getting hit with a lot of rain and wind. We've already seen that strong winds, fallen trees, and downed power lines in parts of the county, and the rain is not going anywhere just yet. Tonight, we have team coverage. CBS 8's Rocio de la Fe is live in downtown San Diego, where flooding shut down trolley service, and the Padres game status could be up in the air. CBS 8's Abby Alford is in Alpine. Our mountain areas saw much of the rain. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Carlene Chavis, our chief. She's been working hard tracking the storm, and here with a first look at current conditions and what's ahead tonight and tomorrow. Carlene?
Well, we are still looking at chances for rain. When we take a look at current conditions, well, you definitely see the raindrops on our camera from our Mount Soledad cam. You have 73 degrees currently for downtown, calm winds and high humidity. Now, we are seeing a drying trend. We're hitting a little bit of a pocket right now, but we're still looking at chances as we go into tonight through the weekend. So we are seeing some showers across Fallbrook, the same for Palomar Mountain, starting to move in again for the South Bay. So over the last 3 hours, we've been seeing surge of moisture. Some areas definitely have received more. We've had more rain across the mountains, and even seeing some areas like downtown where a flood advisory was in play earlier today, and that is with more than a ½ inch of rainfall that fell in the area. So we're still keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm K. Now, K is moving towards the west, kind of veering away from us, but still that lingering moisture, as you can see, wrapping around this system, continuing to surge through across our county. So taking a closer look at what's in play, as mentioned, we did have flood concerns for downtown, but we are seeing a lift when it does come to that flood advisory. Now, there's still one in effect for Pine Valley, seeing that across Ramona. Basically, everything you see shaded in that light green. Flood watch is still in play, and that's going to keep going all the way into the weekend forecast, and that is going to be into Saturday night. Potential for anytime downpours across inland regions, and where we do have a flood warning, that's across the desert, and you're also seeing that across the 8 as well. So that's going to keep going until about 6:30, and then also seeing that until about 7:45, impacting along the 8. So for our forecast, something to keep mindful of if you're going to the Padres game tonight. The Padres are hosting the Dodgers tonight, and there is a chance rain could delay or postpone the game. CBS 8's Rocio de la Fe is live downtown. And what are you seeing out there, Rocio?
Well, despite the wet conditions and the not so sunny conditions here in downtown San Diego, many fans have made their way out to tonight's game as a home team faces off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, many people are still trickling inside the stadium as we speak right now. But of course, the big story here tonight is in fact the rain, and right now conditions have improved significantly since we first made our way out here. A few sprinkles here and there, but not too bad. Of course, this is a rare sight, not just for San Diego, but for the Padres. Only 3 games have been rained out in Petco Park history. We do want to show you video from earlier. This is in Bankers Hill. You can see just how fast the water was flowing with such force through the city streets. We have seen some flooding happening around town today. Earlier, trolley services to downtown were briefly suspended due to flooded tracks at 12th and Imperial. But at last check, again, conditions have improved, allowing officials to resume normal trolley services to downtown. We did talk to some Padre fans earlier as they were headed to the game about their commitment to come out to the game despite the rain. This is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Well, part of it is there's a brew fest tonight. We love beer, and we're in San Diego, but we love our Dodgers.
And of course, if you do plan on heading to tonight's game, you still have only just a few minutes. First pitch does start at 6:40 here tonight. Give yourself plenty of time. Conditions are still pretty wet out on the roadways. And if you do plan on taking the trolley, again, trolley services are back and running again here to downtown. That's the latest from downtown. Rocio de Lopez, CBS 8, handing it off to Abby Alford in Alpine.
Rocio, out here East County and Alpine, it's really nice. It's really cooled off. The rain has stopped. We've seen the clouds kind of peek through, or the blue skies peek through. But earlier today, it was quite a mess out here in Alpine and further out east as the rain dampened the roads. And even with these gusts of wind, it broke some of these tree limbs over here, luckily sparing some of the businesses, but it blocked some traffic. And up on the freeways, it was tough for some truck drivers. Heading east on Interstate 8 near Alpine, signs on the freeway warn truckers high-profile vehicles are not advised.
Waiting for the wind to die down, and it's a little squirrely out there. I just rather not take any chances.
Bill Betancourt has been driving trucks for 39 years and has felt it all.
Far from being my first rodeo. The wind catches this, I mean, it rocks it even worse. You know, it feels like you're getting ready to tip over.
Bill says he wasn't expecting this type of storm that could force trucks to pull over, but says his years on the road, he wasn't going to take any chances.
If I feel as though I'm not very safe out here, if I'm watching everybody else change lanes and because of the wind, it's time for me to get off the road.
Dave Greathouse and his pup Zella felt the wind from the back seat of his car. Holding on with like both hands?
Yeah, she was kind of freaking out.
Dave also has sandbags like these to prevent his house from flooding.
We live on kind of a dirt, off the pavement kind of road.
It was quite windy earlier. Well, I would say gusts like 40 miles an hour.
In some areas of the mountains, wind gusts reach 60 to 70 miles an hour. In downtown Alpine, the wind snapped branches from these eucalyptus trees. Fortunately, the tree caught the limbs before it fell on the DMV tag cottage.
There was just snapping trees. Alpine, that's what happens.
Stephen Lance says although it's a bit muggy directing traffic in this kind of weather, it's a nice break from the recent heat wave.
It's very hard at sometimes when it's super hot.
Fortunately, no major damage or holdups, but drivers remain cautious until this storm clears.
Safety first out here. That's always been my rule.
Now, we're not in the clear just yet. That's why the county still has free sandbags. Their locations are posted to our website at cbs8.com.
Thank you, Abby. Now, of course, the storm is bringing rain and the strong winds to us in Escondido. The winds knocked over a tree early this morning, taking down power to dozens of people nearby. Meantime, of course, the state is still dealing with massive power demand amid the historic heat wave.
It's fair to say this is a complete anomaly in Southern California, to where you come off, 9 or 10 days of extreme heat and then come into a tropical storm coming up from Mexico. Absolutely unique, absolutely an anomaly to put those two things together.
SDG&E says they were aiming to get the power back on by 6 tonight, so about 8 minutes ago. A statewide flex alert is also in effect for the 10th day in a row. The time frame for this alert started about 2 hours ago at 4 and ends tonight at 9. Today's alert is for a shorter time than yesterday's. Now, it all means you should try to avoid using big appliances like dishwashers, washing machines, and AC until later tonight. CalISO also wants you to set your thermostat to 78 degrees or higher.
We want to see photos and videos of the storm where you live. Just go to the Near Me section of the CBS 8 app and click on the Share With Us button. Tonight, 3 counties here in California are under a state of emergency because of wildfires. That includes Riverside County, where the Fairview fire has burned more than 27,000 acres and is only 5% contained. This fire has killed 2 people and burned a dozen buildings. Meanwhile, the so-called mosquito fire is exploding in size in El Dorado and Placer counties. This fire has burned almost 30,000 acres and is said to be only 0% contained. There are 11 major wildfires spreading across the state right now. Wildfires have scorched more than 272,000 acres so far this year, according to CAL FIRE.
Still ahead, the internet rumor that's got some people ready to boycott Starbucks. We verify.
Plus, concern in other coastal communities in the U.S. tonight, where the shoreline is quickly washing away.
Britain's new king speaks for the first time since his mother's death. I'm Ian Lee with his promises to a nation in mourning.